Welcome to the REPXPERT Conference vlog. Ahead of the REPXPERT Conference taking place on the 22nd of May at the Manufacturer Training Centre in Coventry, I'm looking back at some of the answers to my questions around the challenges, the opportunities and the potential of the aftermarket, and why garage owners and technicians should be attending events in 2024, including the REPXPERT Conference itself. With Andy Sava, Matthew Selby, Dean Lomas, Simon Powney, Furness Carnegie and Alistair Mason all answering my questions, we've had a wealth of experience from across the aftermarket, from suppliers and garage owners themselves. So let's find out what they had to say about the aftermarket, its opportunities and the events that are coming up. We're seeing a very different automotive landscape to what we had even a few years ago now. Yeah. What are the current problems that the businesses are looking at, and how could they overcome them?
So I obviously visit garages every day. I've got lots of data that I collect. I believe that I've got the truest data out of most organizations. Why? Because I really drill down, and I've got a whole host of garages from one-man bands to multi-sites across. And there's two things that really stand out that are the most common themes. The first is personnel, right? I think every garage owner you'll speak to is finding it incredibly challenging to recruit, and in some cases even to retain has become a problem. Now, I don't want to spend too much on this time because we'll never finish the call. I have written and commented on this subject for years. We have contributed to the situation that we're in now, not being able to attract and retain. And the second big thing that I see as a challenge is people want to expand because they're so busy with work. I mean, when I think about pre-COVID, Phil, and I think COVID had a huge impact on, yes, it was terrible for the society, but it also had some positives in terms of our repair industry. And that's what I think accelerated the repair sector in where we are now. I've never known a time where most garages their lead times are, 3 weeks is like the norm. And also people are not actually taking new customers on because they can't maintain their ones. And that's caused them an additional problem. One is obviously staff, but the second one, they can't expand. You can't expand because of personnel, but also you can't just go and buy land. You can't just, you need ramps, you need car park, you need space. So the physical side of expansion has made it very difficult. Finding premises has become, very, very difficult. And also local authorities don't want garages in their towns. They want them out because they still think that we're, the greasy sort of Joes underneath the arches. And then when they do find a suitable premises, an industrial unit or something like that, the moment you say you want to use it for a garage, the landlord don't want to entertain you. So there are huge challenges for us, personnel being one, and the limitations that you have in expanding the services and products that you want to offer. So it's really challenging for them.
I want to ask you as well about electric vehicles. A lot's been made of electric vehicles. They're coming through. We've got government-related mandates saying that 22% of registrations for car makers have to be electric. Is it important to be training in electric vehicle repair maintenance now, do you believe?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we're lucky enough to have 2 of us at level 3 and 2 of us at level 4 EV trained. And the new company that we just opened or just started open up is Cheshire EV. So we're looking at the longevity in that market because everyone's idea, no one can predict the future. And whether the government state we have to have all electric hybrids or all electric vehicles by a certain date, that goalpost can move. But what we want to do is make sure that all of our staff are safe when working on them vehicles. If it's just a simple set of brake pads, we need to make sure they're safe because it's my responsibility to make sure as soon as someone walks through that door, employee or customer or anyone who comes to visit us is safe around the electric vehicles we have on site. And it's paramount that whatever happens is we've done our utmost best to train everyone. So if the inevitable of an accident may happen, that we've covered all areas.
And as well, you mentioned sort of the parts and that. I think it's important to note that there's many parts in an electric vehicle that are wearable consumables that garages are used to on a day-to-day basis. They might be slightly different or slightly tweaked for technology, but they still exist.
And this is where I've been moving forward. I think I spoke to Alistair or Tony a few years ago. I'm sure they were at an event down at Wolverhampton, and I said, the way that I believe that Schaeffler will have to move forward into is everything has a bottom ball joint,
Mm.
everything has a wheel bearing, everything has a steering trackward end on the end of a steering rack. You know, the running gear of the vehicle, whatever powers it, is a byproduct. But what we need to do is make sure the vehicle is safe while it's in contact with the road.
I guess as well, there's more onus on garages to highlight the benefits of OE parts, genuine parts, quality parts to the customer who may be more reluctant to spend money on them.
Yeah, definitely. That's why it's good. Like Schaeffler do help you. Have they obviously REPXPERT website where has loads of information you can easily share. We've got little booklets from them in our customer waiting area about FAG, ENA for the time, and LUK for the clutches, like showing you the difference in the quality, just to try and highlight it to the customers.
You talked about technologies. I mean, I think vehicles have advanced so much over the last 10, 15 years in terms of technology and where they're going, the projections for connected vehicles, for example, for electrification, they're quite something. So how should garages be preparing for this new wave of technologies, for these electric vehicles, these hybrid, these ADAS?
Yeah. I mean, I suppose really that, I mean, the first thing is you're going to need to do your research. There's no point, if we look at, say, the southwest of the country, the EV network around that area isn't that high. They haven't got a lot of charge points, etc. It wouldn't be, the best area of the country to invest all your money into electric vehicles because the car park down there is so small with these vehicles. So, the first thing is do your research, understand your customer demands. What customers have you got in your area? Is it going to work for you? Yes or no? You mentioned ADAS. The first thing with ADAS and setting that up, I'm led to believe, is that you need a large space to put all the calibration boards. If your workshop's too small and you invest all this money in ADAS, it's not going to work. So the first thing is do your research, understand what's required. Make sure that you've got a market for the technology that you're potentially going to invest in. Talking of investment, you've got to look at the equipment that you've got to buy. You've also got to look at the training. You've got to plan this. You've got to plan this into your into your next 6 months, your next 12 months. Okay. So you've got to have a plan going forwards. And the other thing is, and what will be great about the conference is, we talk about networking, understanding what other people are out there in our industry that can actually support you, and you will find there are already a lot of people that have invested a lot of money in specific equipment, and they will be the experts in that area. So actually, why not use those guys? They've spent the money. You're supporting them. You're supporting their investment. They've invested because they want that work. You're taking that work to them, but you're also being able to offer that to your customer. So, or they might be, say somebody's really invested in battery technology. So you can quite happily work on electric vehicles, but actually you don't need to invest in the battery side because that you've got somebody that you can actually take that specific repair to. So, let's support one another. And that's what it's all about moving forwards, definitely.
And I just want to actually ask you about you mentioned apprentices there. There's been talk about skills shortage and concerns about bringing the younger generation in. What are your views? What do you think the aftermarket needs to do to attract younger people into workshops, and how important is it to do that?
So this is what I'm passionate about. This is where I've always been. I started my business on the 1st of September 2011. And from that day, I've had an apprentice with me. So when I knew I was starting my business, I contacted the local college and said, "Who's your best person?" And they gave me this lad, and he was with me for 5 years because he was incredible. Within a year, he was doing clutches, cam belts, cylinder heads, and everything because he was stuck beside me. You know, if we don't bring people into this trade, there is no trade. In 15 years' time, I'm 43 now. No matter what, I'm retiring at 57. So I will not be turning a spanner from 57-year-old. Someone needs to replace me. And the only person who's going to replace me is an apprentice. So at the moment, we've got 8 ramps. We've got 5 mechanics. We've got me, Mike, Asa, Morsey, and Cade. Cade is just coming out of his apprenticeship. We've got 5 of us who are extremely competent at our job. We've qualified. We've got the skill level to each section that we are set to. And we've also got another 3 apprentices because soon enough, Asa won't want to be doing dives all day. He needs to pass his skill level onto someone else. And then Mike needs to pass his skill level onto someone else. And Cade, the like, and Morsey, Paul, who I keep on mentioning, he trained me up 28 years ago. And with him training me up 28 years ago, I know what he can deliver. And he is delivering a skill still to the younger generation. And if we don't bring the young people in, we're stuck. There'll be no one selling parts. There'll be no one having the cars repaired. And the industry will just stop. And all you'll get is oil finish. No offense, but people spinning oil filters at main deals. And that's it. We need to go into colleges.
How important is it for the aftermarket to be embracing the next generation of technician now? And what can it be doing to bring the younger people into the industry?
That's a very good question. Absolutely, we need to embrace getting people into the trade. To be honest, it's very, very difficult to get people into the trade these days. When I first started, quite a long time ago, there was a lot of people very interested in being mechanics. These days, we don't see much of that at all. We used to take on trainees quite regularly. The last trainee we took on was 9.5 years ago. So we haven't seen, we haven't been bothered by the college or anything to take anybody on. So there is a skill shortage in this trade. And I don't know why it is. I mean, obviously, whether people don't like getting their hands dirty anymore or what it is, I don't know. But it is very difficult for us to recruit. So, yeah, so we're not sure why that is. I mean, it's still an enjoyable job. Can be quite stressful, of course, but it's an enjoyable job. We all enjoy doing it. We meet a lot of people, especially in the type of business we are, because we're a country garage. Even though we're quite a big garage, we're a big country garage. Know all our customers. They all know us, yeah, it's trying to attract people into it. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Have you got any ideas? What are you thinking?
I'm not too sure. I mean, I think for a start, I think the aftermarket's trying to attract, or the automotive industry as a whole is trying to attract in different areas. Obviously, software in vehicles now is paramount, and of course, you're competing with the technology industry, the gaming industry, in terms of trying to turn people's heads. I do wonder as well if there's also that stigma of perception about, as you said, about getting your hands dirty and the hard manual labor and the stress and the greasy garage and things like that. But it's an image that has, I think, it's quite far gone away these days. It's
Absolutely.
garages I've been to
Yeah.
are so clean and precise, and the work is very challenging, but less so finding the nut or the bolt that's in the wrong place, but now tracking the broken wire and the technological diagnostics of it. It's quite intriguing, actually.
Yeah, it's changed in the time that I've been in the trade. It's changed so much. Like now, like our workshop, we take pride in keeping our workshop nice and clean. And people walk in and say, "Oh, what a clean workshop," which is lovely, and it's a nice place to work. And we feel that would attract people in. I mean, I've been to garages which are dirty and whatever, and it wouldn't be a pleasant, it wouldn't be the sort of thing I'd want to do anymore. But these days it's gone away from sort of being the heavy mechanical work. There's more programming and computer work. I mean, most vehicles that come in get connected to diagnostic equipment.
So with that in mind, then conferences, events like the REPXPERT Conference, they're going to be increasingly important going forwards for garages to understand not just technologies, but also how to really sort of drive their business forward in terms of being able to accept as much work as they can without pushing their workers too much.
Absolutely. I think conferences like the REPXPERT one we have upcoming, they sort of play a multifaceted role in advancing the aftermarket industry. Again, as we said earlier, by fostering that exchange of information, networking, professional development, the innovation, and most importantly the collaboration that comes from that. It's really crucial, and we all know the realities of block exemption. So if we can do our small part to foster that collaboration with everybody from workshop to supplier, then we'll take the opportunity to do so. And I think these events, they do contribute to growth, and hopefully I'm right in saying there's resilience as well in the aftermarket. Our whole ecosystem of the aftermarket. Hopefully that benefits all the professionals out there and businesses alike. And hopefully, if it's successful, we can continue this process of a conference to keep engaging as close as we can with hundreds of technicians out there.
And I imagine as well, conferences like the REPXPERT Conference, they give you an opportunity to speak with other people, to find out what other businesses are doing, to get new ideas, listen to the presenters, see what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. You obviously hear what other people have got in place for doing the same job you're doing, but yeah, it could be completely different. Obviously, you've got people like Alistair there, who's a very clever man, but who works with Scheffler, who knows all the latest technology on cars. And like I said, Andy Sava, who can help guide garage owners to be more profitable.
Why should technicians and garage owners be attending the REPXPERT Conference this year?
I think there's lots of reasons. I think what they should be asking themselves is, why shouldn't I be attending? I mean, I can't remember the last time when a manufacturer, a tier one global parts manufacturer, actually put on a conference. Many of these conferences are by other organizations, and obviously a lot of tier one parts manufacturers will attend. So it's exciting because I think it's the first one that they've done. So it's manufacturer led. So you're really going to be able to drill down with technology, techniques, training, and also what's also nice is that they've invited, garage folk, us, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So it'll be a great networking day. You'll meet fellow garage owners who are probably suffering the same issues that we all are across the country. But the main thing for me is it's hosted by tier one global quality parts manufacturer. We're all going to learn something, whether it's current technologies, new technologies. And I think it's going to be a very, very popular conference. And it's just a spin-off, or it's an extension really of what Schaeffler REPXPERT have been doing in the last 2 or 3 years, which is smaller Academy Live conferences for 30, 40, 50, 60 people. So this is like an expansion of that. So yeah, it should be good. Should be a good day. Should be a great day, actually.
There were some great answers to the questions around challenges, the opportunities, and the potential of the aftermarket in 2024 and beyond now. And you can hear more at the REPXPERT Conference itself on the 22nd of May at the Manufacturer Training Centre in Coventry. Find out more details by clicking on the Events tab at www.repexpert.co.uk or by scanning the QR code on the screen now. Thank you very much for watching.